Alright folks, welcome back to my channel. So for this video, I'm going to react to a 2012 documentary. This documentary is titled My Dad is a Sex Tourist. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the darkest side of interracial dating and race mixing. Yeah, this whole passport bros movement or passport great-grandfathers is going to have very dire and severe consequences. Yeah, some of you guys will get triggered. And once again, let's make something crystal clear, right? Who's most likely to race mix worldwide? Has always been white man. So yeah, I'm not going to show clips from the documentary. I'll show some photos. The last time I tried to react to a documentary like this, the original version got copyrighted. So to avoid any copyright issues, I'm just going to show some photos. And yeah, I will just recap some key moments. This documentary hit me extremely hard. It was very difficult for me to get through to watch the entire thing. Yeah, this is a 2012 documentary titled My Dad is a Sex Tourist. A lot of white and also black men, they're going to countries in Southeast Asia. They want to have unprotected sex with these young local Asian women. Once they knock up these local Asian women, run away from Southeast Asia as fast as possible. So the documentary starts with this young little Asian girl. So yeah, her name is Grace, and obviously she's mixed race. She's half white, half Filipino, and she's been struggling at school. She's been threatened, she's been getting beaten up, and she's been getting racially abused regularly. And in the Philippines, they have a term specifically for children like Grace. So her mom is a former bar girl or former prostitute, and her father was an old white sex tourist, and he abandoned her after finding out Grace's mother got pregnant. They call these type of girls milkfish. So yeah, this is a very strong pejorative and derogatory term for the names of these Asian children, especially the woman. Yeah, the mother of Grace, her name is Marianne. She is a former prostitute, and the reason why she chose to enter the sex work industry was because she needed money for her father's medication and also for his cancer treatment. So Grace's father has a stage 3 cancer. And yeah, there's a moment in the documentary where she talks about her dad's condition, and where she talks about Grace. Grace was actually born twin, but unfortunately Grace's twin brother died from malnutrition. And yeah, during this part of the documentary, Marianne completely breaks down. It was very, very difficult to watch. And then the documentary focuses on this man. It's an absolute legend. He works for an NGO. So his name is Paulo Fuller, although he doesn't know what his real name is. That's the name that he gave himself. Basically, Paulo was also abandoned, unfortunately, by both of his parents. His mom was a sex worker, and his dad was a sex tourist. So yeah, Paulo was abandoned as a kid. Hearing Paulo's backstory was extremely heartbreaking as well. So yeah, he devoted his entire life to track down all these men, all these passport bros and passport great-grandfathers, to hold these men accountable. And yeah, let's make something clear. So the term passport bros, do you guys see like 24, 25-year-old passport bros coming from Western countries to Southeast Asia? Yeah, let's face it. Look at this man. Yeah. That's the average passport bro in the Philippines, right? In Cambodia, in Thailand, in Vietnam. Yeah, let's make something clear. They're not passport bros. So yeah, in probably 98% of the cases, most of them are white men. Some cases also black, some cases Indian men. So these are incels. These are balding white and black men. These men, they're old, they're overweight, they have a male pattern baldness. These are the rejects of Western society. They have absolute zero hope in any Western country. And the reason why so many of these men, they travel to Southeast Asia is probably because they realize that this is their last hope. This is their final frontier. The only way they can actually get some is to travel to Southeast Asia and have sex with underage Asian girls. So yeah, these are absolutely not passport bros. Then for the next part of the documentary, they showed another bar girl. Her name is Priscilla. So Priscilla, yeah, at this point, she's still a teenager, maybe 20 or 21 years old. She entered the industry at the age of just 15. And at the age of 15 and 16, she was knocked up by two separate old white man. And of course, they both abandoned Priscilla once they found out that she was pregnant. And neither one of them wanted to use condoms. They all wanted the raw experience, and they all wanted to cream pie her. They wouldn't even pull out. And in the Philippines, birth control are not free, right? Women don't have 100% free access to them, not even the sex workers. So they refused to pay for her birth control pills. And both of them, once they found out Priscilla got pregnant, they took off as soon as they can. As a matter of fact, one of them, it's an old Australian white man. He's in his 60s. He's still currently in Angeles City, and he's still having sex with other underage Asian women. It's estimated that in the Philippines, there's something like 400,000 young women that works in the sex tourism industry. Yeah, and it's estimated out of those 400,000 women, anywhere between 100,000 to 200,000 of them are underage girls. Yeah. The government is allowing all of this to happen. And yeah, these are the severe consequences. And if you think Priscilla or Marianne or Grace, if you think that's bad, well, the next part of the documentary is going to totally send you over the edge. So it showed that this girl, once again, this is not even her real name. So yeah, she goes by Priscilla Kapua. Priscilla Kapua. So yeah, that's the photo of her. Unfortunately, she's mixed half black and half Filipino. That is the absolute worst possible scenario. Okay, I warned you guys. You guys want me to lie? Listen, the world isn't full of sunshines and rainbows, okay? I'm just telling you guys the 100% brutal and honest truth. In any Asian country, right? If you're mixed race children and yeah, if you're half black and half Asian, these are seen as the untouchables. These are subhumans. In the Indian caste system, yeah, these are considered to be the Dalits, okay? They're considered to have demon blood. These are considered to be animals, to be gorillas, and to be apes. Okay, don't tell me I didn't warn you guys. I'm just one of those few people that's 100% brutally honest. Yeah, for Priscilla Kapua, she was abandoned by both of her parents. At least for Grace, she still has Marianne, right? Priscilla. By the filming of the documentary, she couldn't locate one of her children. It's an extremely sad and difficult situation. But for Priscilla Kapua, yeah. So after her mother was impregnated by a black sex tourist, so this black man, he goes off to buy milk and never comes back. Free's mother, she realized that, after giving birth to a half-black kid, she's probably going to be racially abused every single day. She decides to abandon her by the side of the road. She left her to die. So Priscilla Kapua, she grew up homeless. She was racially abused every single day. The local Filipinos, they threw every single racial slur you can possibly imagine at her. She was beaten up regularly. She was humiliated. She had people spat on her. And throughout her entire childhood, she contemplated suicide every single day. But by the release of this documentary, she was lucky enough to be saved by an Irish priest. And she was the one who told Priscilla Kapua to find God, to find religion, and that is the only way. And now she has learned to pray every single day, to believe in God. And yeah, if you guys have watched the documentary, she does mention that the rainy days in the Philippines are the most difficult because it brings back so much painful memories of all of the years that she has been abandoned by the side of the road as a child, being bullied, being racially abused every single day. And she would sit alone in the street corner and she would just completely break down. She would go on to cry a river of tears for days nonstop. Yeah, this documentary was just so disturbing and so depressing on so many levels. So I'm not going to cover every single part because yeah, the storyline just keeps on getting darker and darker. But towards the end of this video, yeah, remember the NGO, right? So Paulo Fuller, yeah. So he has devoted his entire life to track down these passport bros who goes off to buy milk after impregnating these local Asian women and taking advantage of them. So yeah, he sponsored Marianne and Grace a trip to find the father of Grace. So yeah, they traveled to the Swiss mountainside. They went to this cabin. So they call this guy Patrick. They're using a fake alias. So this is a fake pseudonym in order to protect his identity. So yeah, Patrick is the alleged father of Grace. So Patrick from the Swiss mountainside, he originally refused to talk to Marianne or to talk to Grace, but eventually off camera, he did agree to help out with Grace's financial situation. And it was revealed by Marianne towards the end of the documentary that when he found out Marianne was pregnant, he did leave her with 3,500 euros. But that was 10 years ago. And you guys all know how expensive it is nowadays to raise children, especially for a single mother like Marianne. And this is just all extremely, extremely depressing. And once again, I think one of the most important key takeaway from all of this is that, yeah, the governments of all of these Southeast Asian countries, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, they have to shut down the entire passport bros or passport great-grandfathers movement. Yeah, because if the government actually stepped in and intervened, there wouldn't be any of this. This is absolutely sick and disgusting. And also, yeah, the reason why, if you guys actually watch the documentary, so all of these sex tourists throughout the entire documentary, they had their faces blurred out. The reason why they had their faces blurred out is to avoid any lawsuits. Yeah, it should also be a mandatory that, yeah, in all of these cases, right, DNA test must be mandatory 100%. Because, yeah, some guys might say, well, the documentary is pretty one-sided because, yeah, some of these bar girls, they're sleeping anywhere between 5 to 7 to 8 or even 10 or 12 guys on a single night. So, yeah, sometimes it's difficult to be 100% sure as to, who is the father. And the only way to be 100% certain, right, the only way to be 100% sure, if you guys actually want to hold these foreign sex tourists accountable, is by administering mandatory DNA tests for every single case. And no children in any part of the world should be abandoned. No children in any part of the world should have to grow up like this. Especially when I watched the case with the half black, half Filipino kid, Frigel Kapua. I mean, I completely broke down during that part of the documentary. That was absolutely brutal. Now, keep in mind, this documentary was originally released all the way back in 2012. I don't know where Marianne is or Priscilla. I don't know where Grace is now. I don't know where Frigel Kapua is. And I have covered this point so many times in previous videos. Well, especially for this case with Frigel Kapua, that's the only thing that saved her life. Yeah, I think all of these people need to find God. That is the only way. And just to add another point to this video, yeah, to cap off the documentary, why do you guys think there's an explosion of LGBTQ and plus all of the other crazy stuff? For example, right, what are two of the gayest cities, right, in North America? Probably Vancouver, probably San Francisco. You guys want to know something else that's also very interesting? Yeah, go to these two cities. What do you guys see? White man with Asian women everywhere, every single street corner. Keep in mind, right, due to the one-child policy, China already has 35 million excess men, at least. It could be more. So what do you guys think, the rest of the Chinese guys are going to do, right? They try to find love, right, by moving to a foreign country. Then they found out, right, everything they have been told, it's all lies. These white men, they say, oh, these immigrants, they take all of our jobs and they sleep with all of our women. Then they realize, well, certainly this is the truth for Asian men. It's the complete polar opposite. When they move to a Western country, all of their women wants to sleep with the white man. And it's the same thing all over Southeast Asia. If you guys have never been to that part of the world, you say, oh, maybe, well, you've been to the Philippines, you've been to Thailand. But yeah, have you ever been to Pattaya? Have you guys ever been to Angeles City in the Philippines? Yeah, you guys have no idea just the sheer scale, the sheer magnitude of this movement, just how massive it is. There are literally, as I'm speaking right now, millions of Western men that's engaged in sex tourism throughout Southeast Asia, right? In the Philippines alone, right? At least 400,000 Filipino women works in the sex tourism industry. Yeah, anywhere between 25 to 50% of them are underage girls. So quit romanticizing this whole race mixing or passport bros movement. Yeah, that's the dark reality behind this movement. Yeah, and what do you guys think happens, right? When millions of these Western men, mostly white men, some black, some Indian men, they all pour into Southeast Asia to look for barely legal local Asian women. Well, inevitably, what's going to happen is that it means that millions of local Asian men are going to end up becoming incels. Yeah, look at the dramatic explosion of gays in Southeast Asia, in the Philippines, in Thailand, in Laos, in Cambodia, in Vietnam. There's gay men everywhere now, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this already. I would say roughly 80% of the LGBTQ population are biological men, because yeah, all of their women are being taken by these foreign sexpats. Yeah, just imagine as a local Filipino guy, right? Imagine losing your 17-year-old high school crush to some 65-year-old white Australian sexpat. That's the brutal reality for millions and millions of Southeast Asian men. That's why so many of them are turning gay. And it was also confirmed during this documentary that Marianne, she's the mother of Grace. Yeah, she also turned lesbian herself due to hatred for white men. The fact that she's had so many terrible negative experiences with all of these white sexpats. So now she's turned into a lesbian herself. Yeah, this is all 100% correlated. Race mixing on a mass scale is going to have a very dire consequences. Yeah, this video has already gotten so depressing, so I think I'm going to take the pause here. Definitely be coming back to this topic. So yeah, what do you guys think about this whole movement? Yeah, I would say my number one advice is that it's the governments of these countries they have to be held responsible. At least in a country like China or South Korea, you guys don't see this kind of movement because the government doesn't allow it. So yeah, it is also the failure of the government policies. So just want to thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and watching it all the way until the end. If you guys have enjoyed the contents of this video, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment down below, like the video, and turn on the notification button. And I will see you guys back on this channel for Friday. Thank you guys so much.